Welcome. In this lecture, I'm going to talk about the for statement. In the first step, you're going to learn about the for statement, which allows us to repeat a block of statements. Loop statement in Go is very simple. There is only one loop statement in Go. Unlike other languages, there are no while or until statements in Go. However, you can create them using only the for statement. In the second step, you're going to learn how to use a loop inside another loop. And the last step, you're going to learn about the for range clause. Alright, let's start with the first step. Okay, now I'm going to talk about the basics of the for statement. Let's first take a look at why you may need loops. Now I'm going to show you an example code for that. Okay, in this very simple program, I'm going to find out the sum of 5 numbers, okay? So let's first declare a sum variable here, var sum int. Now let's add the numbers beginning from 1 to 5 like this. Alright, ready. Let's print them. Okay, let me run it now. It prints 15. Correct. Now imagine that these numbers goes to 1000. It would be a waste of time to add these numbers by manually typing them. As I said at the beginning of the section that we humans are very bad at doing those sort of things, right? So that's why we need loops. Let's refactor this code to a loop now. Let me type a loop that will add numbers between 1 and 1000 like this. For short declare I, start with 1, loop until 1000, increment the I variable. Okay, then inside the loop, I'm gonna assign the current I variable to the sum variable using an assignment operation like this. Alright, done. Let me run it. As you can see, the computer has very quickly added the numbers without getting tired at all. That's what they do. I think now it's clear why we need the loops. If you have a programming background already, I know this was a very simple example, but I needed to do this for also beginners. Okay, now I'm gonna explain each part of this for statement. This is the initialization statement. This init statement is just a simple statement as you've seen it before. That's why I can use a short declaration here. As you can see here, it's usually used for declaring variables. Any declared variables here can only be used inside this for loop. So they won't be visible outside of the for statement. Scoping rules still apply. This statement will only be run once. Alright, that's all about it. Let's continue. This part is the condition expression of the for loop. It should be a bool expression only. As long as this condition yields true, the loop will continue. For example here, as long as the I variable is less than or equal to 5, this loop will continue. Before the loop begins, Go will first check this condition, and if it yields true, the loop will start, and after the first step of the loop ends, Go will check it again. If it yields true, the loop will continue. When it becomes false, the loop will end. Okay, this is the post statement of the for loop. Like the init statement, this is a simple statement, so that's why I can use an index statement here. This statement will be run after each step of the loop. So Go will first run the statements inside the for statements block, and after that it will run this statement. I've just used an index statement here for incrementing the I variable. So the I variable will keep incrementing until the loop ends. These highlighted parts are used for separating the parts of the for statement. Their meaning is clear. So let's continue. This is the block of the for loop. As you can see, the I variable is available here. It's within the scope of the for loop, right? Any statements inside this block will be repeated until the I variable becomes greater than 5. And that's all. Okay, let me summarize. It first short declares the I variable and assigns 1 to it in the initialization only once. Then in its condition expression, it checks whether the I variable is less than or equal to 5. At the beginning, it's 0, so the loop starts. Then Go runs the for statements block, which in turn adds the I variable to the sum variable. Then it executes the post statement, which in turn increments the I variable. And it repeats this as long as the I variable becomes greater than 5. By the way, in Go, all these parts can be removed except the block. In the next lecture, I'm going to show you how to do that. That's all for now. Thank you for watching. See you in the next lecture. Bye-bye. Welcome. In this lecture, I'm going to show you how flexible for statement is. And at the end, you'll learn about the break statement. Let's get started. Remember this for statement? Now I'm going to tear it apart, in a good way, of course. And the break statement will naturally emerge from its ashes. Let's do that. Now I've removed the initialization statement. It can also work this way. Assume that the I variable is declared somewhere before and outside of the for statement here. Notice the separator. It's still there, right? So Go can understand that there are still a condition and a post statement. Okay, let's continue. Now I've also removed the post statement. This works too. Of course, I needed to increase the I variable myself, otherwise the loop would never quit. I moved it after the summation. It's because I'm trying to imitate the actual for loop here. Remember, Go runs the post statement after running all the statements in its block, so that's why I'm incrementing the I variable at the end of the loop here. Notice again the separators. They are still here, right? Okay, let's also remove the separators. This is known as the for statement with a single condition. Now let's also remove the condition. Here, this loop will never quit. It will loop forever, to the infinity. It's because behind the scenes, the condition is still there. It's just hidden and it equals to true. Remember, for loop will continue as long as its condition is true, right? So because the hidden condition is true, this loop will never quit. By the way, this loop syntax is called an infinite loop. As you'll see in the examples that infinite loops are mostly used when you don't know how many times you would repeat the statements. For example, you can keep repeating the loop until the user presses the quit key. Or you can use it for a network server which runs and listens forever. So how can you end this for loop? Let me show you. To exit from the loop, I need to use a break statement. But where you type the break statement is very important, because it will break out from the loop immediately. For example, if you call it here, it will quit from the loop after the summation, and it will skip the following index statement. So because of this, actually this loop will end on its first step, and I don't want that. I want to add the numbers as before, right? So you need an if statement to properly quit from the loop. Let me show you. Now I'm going to type an if statement like this. As you can see, I've moved the break statement inside the if statement now. This way, the loop will only quit after the I variable becomes greater than 5, right? Let me show you this in the code editor. First, I'm going to declare the sum and I variables like this. Since I want to add the numbers starting from 1, so I've initialized the I variable to 1. Okay? Then I'm going to type an infinite for statement like this. Just the curly braces here. Inside this block, I'm going to compare whether the I variable is greater than 5 or not, like this. So this way, this program will only add numbers up to 5. And I'm gonna type the break statement here. So it will quit from the loop only when the I variable becomes greater than 5. And then I'm gonna add the I variable to the sum variable like this. And lastly, I'm gonna increment the I variable. The order of the statements is very important. As I said, it's like the actual for statement now. So before each loop step begins, Go will check for the condition. Then it will add the I variable and the sum variable. Then at the end, it will increment the I variable. And the loop will continue until the I variable becomes greater than 5. Then it will break out from there. Alright, now let's run this. As you can see, it prints 15, which is correct. Now let me print the numbers here, so you can see what it's calculating. Println I, dash dash greater than arrow, and sum. Okay, let me run it again. So it adds the numbers step by step, right? Alright, in the next lecture, I'm gonna show you another statement. If these examples look simple to you, don't worry though. I prepared more challenging ones as well. You'll learn about them soon. So see you in the next lecture. Bye bye. Welcome. Let's take a look at how the continue statement works. Like the break statement, continue statement also breaks the loop, but it won't end the loop. It only ends the current step, but the loop itself will continue from where it left off. And I'll also show you how to use the integrated debugger inside the VS Code. Okay, let's get started. This is the previous code. It's an artificial version of an actual for statement which I designed for you to see how it works. Now let's say that I wanna add only even numbers, the ones that are divisible by 2. I can use a continue statement to do that. Let's take a look. First, I'm gonna type another if statement. You'll see why in a second. In this statement, I'll check for whether the I variable is even or not using the remainder operator. If it's divisible by 2, then there shouldn't be any remainder. So if there is a remainder, then it means that the number is an odd number, right? This is exactly where I need to call the continue statement. So if the number is not an even number, I want the loop to stop now and continue for the next number, okay? Let me type continue now. Okay, what the statement does is that it skips the rest of the code after it. And it goes back to the beginning of the for loop. And that's all about it. Let me show you. Let's say that the program is on this line, okay? If the I variable isn't an even number, then it will run the continue. And when it does that, it will go back to the beginning of the loop, like this. And from there, it will run the next statement, and so on. By the way, can you see a problem in this code? Now please pause the video and think about it. Alright, now let me show you this program inside the code editor where I'll fix the error as well. Here is the same program. Now let me show you the problem by using the built-in debugger. First, I'm gonna put a breakpoint here at the beginning of the for loop. This breakpoint will allow the debugger to stop in here. You'll see. Now let me open the debugging panel from the left and start debugging. By the way, if you have installed all the Go tools, this debugger should work on your machine as well. Behind the scenes, this debugger uses a program called Delve. If it doesn't work, uninstall your editor and reinstall it again with the Go tools as I showed you before. Now check out the variables on the left. It shows them in real time. Cool, right? Now the I variable is 1 and the sum is 0. Okay, let's run this for statement. I'm gonna step into the for statement by clicking on this down button here. Let's click on the step into again to continue. Now it's on the second if, right? This is where the problem happens. Let's step into this. Now it hits the continue statement. Okay, let's continue. Now let's check the variables again. Here, the I variable is still equal to 1, right? Let me continue running this a few more times. As you can see, it's been stuck here. The variables never change. Now let's get back and fix this, okay? The problem happens because this continue statement here makes the loop endlessly continue without increasing the I variable. I need to increase the I variable here again like this. This will fix the problem. Let me show you again. Now the I variable changes. It's 2 now. Okay, let's continue. As you can see, this time it has skipped the second if and now it's on this line. It's no longer a never-ending loop. Okay, let me remove this breakpoint from here too. Okay, let's run this from the terminal now. As you can see, it adds only the even numbers and the result is 30. As you can see, you need to be careful with the continue statement. It may never end, especially in infinite loops like this. As a bonus, now you have learned how to debug your Go code as well. Okay, congrats! You learned how to use loops in Go. Alright, that's all for now. See you in the next lecture. Bye bye.